Halo versus Whoop. Let's talk about it. What up, fam? Welcome back to the show. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave me a comment below. If you are here, we talk about tools, resources, strategies that help business owners perform at their best, get more conversions, get more sales, build their companies. And a big part of that for me is talking about biometric devices. I love data. I love numbers. It's how I run my business. It's how I run my life. And it's how I run my health. You need to have big energy to do big things in the world. And it all starts with knowing what the heck is going on under the hood of your car, meaning your literal car, your body. All right, so I've done 2 separate videos on these individually that go more in depth. So if you want to check those out, I'll include those above here. It'll also be in the description below. But I'm going to give a rank on certain criteria. The first thing to know is that you really need to assess, and that's why I recommend watching those videos. You need to assess what you really need out of these, right? They accomplish totally different things as I see it. One is more just general health and wellness, better if you just want some advice. Like it's like a personal trainer on your wrist. The other one is like, I'm doing crazy wild stuff and I want to know what that data indicates, right? That's being the Whoop. So Halo, more health and wellness coach. Whoop, more I want to measure the intensity of stuff that I'm doing. We're going to get into all that. But let's first break down each category and then we're going to declare an ultimate winner at the end with some caveats. Okay, so the first is boxing. And I gave this a tie. I think the boxing for these it's pretty similar. It's very modern, very sleek. And it's very few components that come with it. So I gave this a straight up tie. I don't think there's any real difference. It is something you want to consider or think about because if you do travel and you need to take some of the accessories or what have you, it is an important thing to have that box. Maybe you save it for, those situations where you are in that capacity. But I gave it a tie overall. Very sleek, very modern, very small, very practical size boxing. So not a real difference in terms of how this comes packaged up. Okay, setup. So, and I'll be totally candid with you. Halo wins by a long shot. And that's like really saying something because I don't think the Whoop onboarding process is bad at all. I think it's actually really good. It uses technology. There's no, having to scroll through millions of pages of setup. It's a big issue with the Garmin. All of the Garmins. The Garmin Connect app is really wonky as I see it. It's buggy, it feels. Both of these are great, but man, I have probably never experienced a better setup process than what I experienced with the Amazon Halo. It is amazing. There's interactive videos. It's very seamless. It's super educational. They do a fantastic job of showing you how to use this device, what it entails, how to get going, how to get started. It works as it's supposed to right out of the gates. You feel like you already know what you're doing. And that's great because some of these devices, you buy them and you find out 6 months later, you weren't using like half of what it actually is designed to do. It's not going to be the case with a Halo. And again, that says a lot because I didn't feel like the onboarding process for the Whoop was bad at all. But I give the nod to Halo and a huge kudos to Amazon because it is a fantastic system. Okay, so next we have comfort. This was really tough because I feel like they're both really comfortable. However, there's a little bit of a lighter fabric that comes with the Whoop that I preferred. But a little bit of a caveat with this one though, and that's my next category, which is durability. This Whoop, although I think they sacrificed a little bit for comfort, they sacrifice a little bit on the durability. So sometimes when I wear this thing, this band kind of just comes off and it's it's kind of counterintuitive for what it's intended to accomplish. It's for intensity of training, swimming, hiking, biking, climbing, whatever, right? Water sports, you name it. These are all things that I engage with. And I just kind of noticed that it kind of was not coming loose or coming off, but the band is such lightweight fabric, which I appreciate. It is very comfortable. You can barely tell it's on. That's a huge deal, right? I don't want to underestimate that. I don't want to understate that. That's a huge deal. But I feel like Amazon did a good job accomplishing aesthetic, accomplishing comfort, but also making sure that it is indeed durable. So I was really impressed with that. So this is like a one for Whoop, but also a 1 for Halo. So I give a point for overall comfort, but durability, I'll give 1 to Halo. So comfort, Whoop, durability, Halo. Okay, so next we have charger. And I've talked about this before. The charger with the Whoop, it's weird, right? It's kind of like a transformer, right? I talked, it was like it's Morphin Time, right? You got to like build your Megazord. You got to like slide this thing onto here and it's not bad. Like I'm really overstating that, but at first it was kind of like I felt like I was going to break something. Like it really was. It doesn't feel like the best system, right? I've used a lot of these devices, and it just doesn't feel like the best system. I think they overthought what they were doing. I don't like that it requires this extra component, and even if it did require an extra component, I don't like that the cord isn't attached, right? Now, it's just a general micro USB. Like I could find any micro USB and use it with this. I like as few accessories as possible to make the thing work, just because, you're keeping up with stuff. You have laptop chargers and phone chargers and all kinds of stuff that you're taking with you if you're traveling. I just don't like the capacity of losing something that just kind of hangs out like this. I like you can plug directly into your actual watch, and this doesn't have that. So in terms of just overall function, I really liked, so the process with the Halo is just a clamp. It's really cool. It's really easy to use. And one of the cool things too is I've had devices like my BioStrap where like the actual unit sits in this little pod, and sometimes like somebody will bump into it and it flops out all over the floor, or it's not ideal. So this, I love that it clamps on there. I could probably, I joked about this before, you could probably use it for dual purposes. You could use it as a potato bag chip or a chip clip, or you could use it to charge your Halo. I'm obviously joking, but that really is what it is. It's like a chip clip that goes on the band itself. And I just feel like it's one component, feels durable, fastens on there. Maybe it's a little bit bigger than I'd like, but overall, I'll still give the nod to Halo. Okay, so let's talk about, I'm talking about charger. Let's talk about battery life. That's important. There's nothing worse than having to charge your devices. Now, I will say this, Garmin with the Fenix and with the Vivosmart 4, which is what I have, you're talking multiple days, right? Even up to a week. I think the Garmin Fenix goes like 2 weeks almost. It's incredible. Now it's big and clunky, and so that's kind of what you get as a trade-off. But these, with the Whoop and with the Halo, they're kind of on the lower end. I got about 4 or 5 days out of the Whoop. That's not bad. That's about as similar to what I have with the Garmin Vivosmart. The Halo was much shorter, right? So it's about 48 hours is what you're going to get. Now, the caveat to that is that's with the tone feature turned on. So tone, if you didn't watch my other video, is basically it hears you, which I don't know how comfortable I feel with that. I don't like big tech listening to stuff that I say. I'm watching you right now, YouTube. But I don't know that I dig that too much. I don't know that I like people talk about having a smart house and smart this, smart. I want the dumbest stuff possible. Like I don't want people listening to what I say. And I trust people, but not people that are unchecked, right? I think it's important. Trust but verify, right? Ron Reagan. So I think that's something that I'm not big in. It's not like something I'm really interested in. Anyways, when you turn that on, it does limit the battery substantially. It is only about 24 to 48 hours, give or take, and that's a pain in the butt. It's nothing worse than having to take this off, because here's the deal: every time you take this off for a period of time, it's not collecting data, and you might be doing stuff in the process that needs to be collected. So I don't like that. I like having long-term usage to make sure I get the most accurate data, in addition to not having the pain in the butt to have to remember to charge the darn thing all the time. I have to worry about my phone. That's all. That's enough. I don't have to worry about charging other things. So in that case, I will give it to Whoop. It is about 2 to 3 times longer battery life than the Halo. All right, so let's talk about the app. This one was tough. They're both really, really good apps. However, I did feel like the user experience was a little bit more positive with the Halo than it was the Whoop. There was some confusion with Whoop. In fact, I used it for about a whole week, and I was still kind of confused about how to navigate things, and there was like a scrolling up and scrolling down process to look at different sets of data and what have you. I don't know. It just felt like it could use a little bit of improvement. The Halo does a really, really good job. It's very clear and it's very easy to use. I prefer it. We're going to get into some of the other features that are on the apps, but for now, it's in terms of just usability. I really like that. Specifically, what I really like is and this is where it comes down to what you prefer. The Halo has all these various training programs. It has diet programs. It has suggestions based off of things that you do, like your movement score. It'll give you recommendations of exercises and stretches you should do according to that. That's a huge plus. That's a huge benefit. Specifically, and I'll get this to when I declare my overall winner, specifically if you're going to pay for ongoing recurring fee, right? Most of these devices outside of Whoop and Halo, which is why I'm comparing these two, there's not an ongoing fee. There's not a monthly recurring fee associated with that. From what I can tell from Whoop, after having used it for over a week, you're paying for the data. That's what you're paying for. With the Halo, there's part of it you're paying for data, but there's also ongoing support. There's also ongoing programs. There's new stuff that they're adding. There's new content. So it's educating you, giving you resources, kind of like taking a personal trainer with you on your wrist. That's huge. So I like that aspect of the app with the Halo. It really includes a lot of resources about overall health and wellness, whereas the Whoop, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to navigate at times. It's a little clunky, I feel, but also too, it's not as robust as I thought it was going to be. The app isn't. Okay, so let's talk about the data. So each one has their own set of winning features. I like that. So outside of your normal stuff, right? You've got your basics, right? Steps taken, heart rate, calories burned, sleep scores, things of that nature. But this is where they kind of differ a little bit. The winning feature to me with Whoop is what's called strain. Strain is like measuring how intense your workout was and kind of making sure that you don't overtrain, because a lot of people do that, right? Specifically people that are trying to lose weight. I always tell people, I'm like, dude, you're overtraining, and that puts your body into like a survival state. And actually, you will start retaining to protect your major organs. And so you're doing the exact opposite. In fact, a lot of people do some of this like really high intensity training. It's called HIIT training, if you've heard of that before. A lot of people doing CrossFit, Orange Theory. They go every single day. And it really is too much. In fact, in some of the studies that I've read by the folks that I follow, like Dave Asprey, Ben Greenfield, they've actually said that like it increases your chance of some serious issues like long-term cardiovascular disease from doing too much. Runners have this problem specifically. So this is great. So you're not overdoing it. A lot of type A's, that's what they do. They overdo it. So I like strain. That was the winning feature amongst just the standard data that you receive. I like that about Whoop. Now, let's talk about the difference with Halo, because it doesn't have that. And that's one of the things that really is kind of lacking in my mind. It doesn't talk about recovery at all, right? Whoop is really focused on that. It's focused on recovery and kind of maintaining that balance, making sure you have that harmonious relationship between recovery and rest and also pushing yourself. Halo doesn't have that, right? It's going to tell you how well you slept, but that doesn't mean you recovered well just because you got your sleep numbers. I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but there's a little bit more nuance to it than that. Halo, again, one of the things you're really getting out of it that you're not getting with this is the body composition. So it's going to tell you percentage of body fat, although it's radically inaccurate. It was like 10% off for me. Like basically said I was 24% body fat. And I do my body composition every week at the gym on a multi-$1,000 piece of equipment. And I'm between 12 and 14 on any given time. So that was wildly inaccurate. So although you have it, it's not working the way that it should. It's not really doing much for you. But it has some functional movement stuff. So it actually can, with your camera, watch you do certain things, certain movements, squats, etc. And actually will give you a score based on that and some functional movements to do to coincide with that. It also has tone, which I mentioned before, hears your voice and then assesses how you're presenting yourself. Do you sound happy? Do you sound sad? Do you sound aggravated? Do you sound whatever? I, again, think it's a little overstated. I think the idea of it sounds great, but it doesn't really do what I thought it was going to do. It only recorded me like 2 or 3 times a day, and I talk more than 2 or 3 times a day, as you can tell right now. And more specifically, it doesn't cite the things that you said in correlation with the tone that you provided. So I know that I was upset, or I know that I talked dismissive, but I don't know exactly what I said. So how do I really use that? And then more importantly, how does that relate to my health? So I always like, okay, well, maybe that's good if you're in a sales capacity or you're a leader or you're in constant communication with other people, your wife, whatever. I don't know how that relates to your health. So I kind of got a little conspiratory on it. I'm like, well, maybe they're trying to like hear you so they can sell me stuff on Prime. If they hear me talking about something I need, then they show me that product on Prime. I'm not saying they're doing that. That's not what I'm saying they're doing. I'm saying it would make sense if that were what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of makes sense. It makes sense why they would get into making biometric watches, because why the heck else are they making biometric? Again, I'm not accusing them. I'm just saying it would make sense if that were indeed the case. I don't know why it does that. So overall, again, biggest difference in terms of data is, again, what you're really trying to accomplish. Are you trying to just have general health and wellness? The data, I'm a little underwhelmed with Halo. I really am. I think it's extremely rudimentary, extremely basic outside of some of those additional features that I referenced. You don't get HRV. That's a big deal. You're getting that with Whoop. You're getting some additional stuff that you're not getting with Halo. So again, this is more performance related. This is more just general health and wellness, meaning Whoop, performance, general health and wellness with Halo. And even that, I think it leaves a lot to be desired with the Halo. So I'm giving the edge, data-wise, I'm giving that to the Whoop. All right, so drum roll, please. Who are we going to declare the ultimate winner in this? I'm going to say the Halo, all right? But again, with a caveat, understand, know what you're getting for these devices. You have to understand, because I could say this is better, and for all intents and purposes on the categories that I rated it, I do feel it's better. However, I would also consider the Whoop if you really want what I described, if you're looking for those specific set of things. The biggest thing, and I guess maybe there's another category we should have talked about, which is cost. And really what it comes down to is I don't like the idea of paying $15 to $30 a month forever to have the Whoop. I like the fact that you can at least own the Halo. Now, if you don't pay for the ongoing subscription, although it is like a tenth literally of what the subscription is for the Whoop, you're paying less than $5 a month for the ongoing support with the Halo, in addition to the fact that you're getting all these new programs, diet plans, workouts, all these other continued support aspects that you're not getting from Whoop. So Whoop really needs to address, in my opinion, their pricing model. In fact, I would actually consider Whoop if it weren't for that. Like, that really is a big deterrent for me. Halo, I feel like they've really nailed that part. So if you are a business owner, which you probably are if you're watching this channel, more than likely you're going to fall into the Halo category, which is why I declared it the winner. Although I will say this, I think both of them still pale in comparison to my long-standing winner, which pound for pound I feel is the best, which is the Garmin VivoSmart 4. So make sure you check that video out if you haven't checked that out already. I'll include that above here. Hope this helped you out in making a decision. Anyway, I don't think you can go wrong. As long as you're providing these devices and measuring data, you are already 90% ahead of the game. To be a peak performing business owner that you need to be, make sure you're taking back control of your life. You feel good every day. And you're enjoying your relationships. You're being happy, healthy, and thriving. That is the most important aspect of wearing these things, and that's why I like having data. So, hope you guys like this video. Make sure to grab my biohacking playbook below. It would really help you out to go advance beyond just this into other aspects of dieting and food and eating and all the things that I do being a biohacker. Make sure you check out my playbook. Grab that download below. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Do you think I'm wrong? Which one do you think is the winner? Which one do you think you're going to grab? Tell me in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.